Right then, Tower Block Archive, and today we have the Tustin estate at Old Kent Road. This estate has 3 towers and a Streets in the Sky section. The 3 towers are very similar to St George's estate in Shadwell. Although that said, St George's estate is more spectacular since that's quite a bit taller and more stunning looking. A Tustin estate is slightly smaller, but it's still very interesting due to the Streets in the Sky part. The 3 towers, 4 flats per floor, and the top floor being a penthouse level with a very different layout on the top floor, and that's where the plant room is, and up to the motor room and roof level on the floor above. On the Tustin estate, the lower 2 floors are different on each of the 3 towers. They changed quite a lot, and the lower 2 floors are actually being refurbished and the layout completely changed. When I filmed this video, the Tustin towers had scaffolding up and you can't really see what they look like. But before we look at the towers, we first take a look at the Streets in the Sky section, and this part is very interesting. It is so unusual looking and really interesting to explore, so let's go and take a look around it. I find this block very interesting. Double floor masonette. This building's bigger than I thought then. Yeah. It continues.
They're built properly and maintained acceptably. Being watched by Mr. Snub on CCTV.
And now we go to the 3 towers. Lots of scaffolding up on these. You can't really see what the architecture is like at the moment. So we're now going to go inside and take a look at the insides. We go in on this one on the ground floor, when on the other 2 you actually go in on the lower ground floor at the moment. So entering into this tower on the ground floor, you can only get to the lifts and stairs at the moment because the rest of the ground floor is boarded up for renovation. And the lower ground floor is completely closed and locks off for renovation, and we'll get to the lower ground floor later on. And let's now take a look at the lifts, which are very boring lifts. So take a lift up to the highest floor a lifts go to. So coming up the lifts, you get 4 flats on each floor. The top floor, you've got both lifts stop, it's odd and even lifts. Well, that way it goes out to the scaffolding where they're insulating the building. Rubbish chute in there. This is the highest level the lift goes, but there is another level lifts do not go to. That door there is just for winching up the motor when they change motor. And if we go up, we can go up to the next floor. We can take a look at the penthouse level. Staircase has got replacement windows. We now go up to the penthouse level. Now, this is very similar to the ones at Shadwell, even though this block is completely different to Shadwell. This top floor section is similar, so it's like they've taken the top floor from a different building and added it to this one. The top floor has a very different layout and is just like the St George's estate in Shadwell. It's got corridors going round to the different flats, and there's also the plant room door which we couldn't get through. So we go back down to the floor where the lifts are and we go out onto the scaffolding to get to the roof. This is like a penthouse level, different layout here. That's what I'm adding insulation onto your building. Smaller windows, surprisingly, on Penthouse. We now go down back to the penthouse level where the plant room is.
So this is the entrance. This is where the doorway is.
Ooh, we bypassed that one. And we now go up to the motor room.
It really sounded like they were on the road.
Why does Apex have to do that? It doesn't make them look good, it just makes them look like a pathetic. Generic bit of metal and have to put a name on
I
it.
like the blue canvas, so that helps actually.
This gets the frequency time. This bit of old equipment here, which is probably not even on, is 31 to 31.8 gigahertz.
Wow.
Single channel microwave link, 31.4 gigahertz.
31 gigahertz.
Old fashioned line of sight microwave links for video receive. Now let's take it in from those buildings there. So it takes CCTV in from those buildings, receives, and maybe over the other side somewhere, it then transmits onto the next location. All four of those are receive. So it's us receiving from all those towers over there. It's literally receiving the CCTV off them. Put this spike. So then, let's surf the lifts.
Doors opening. Lift going down.
So then, let's now go and see what's on the lower ground floor, which is currently closed for renovation. The lifts refuse to go to this floor, but when you safety brake the lift goes down there. So I got my friend to safety brake it while I was in the lift. Now!
Lift out of service.
And that's how you get to the lower ground floor.
Ground floor. Lower ground floor. Doors opening.
And this lower ground floor, renovations going on, it's very interesting to explore. then we go out of this first tower and we walk along to the next tower. On this building, there's renovation works going on the lower ground and ground floors, but the lower ground floor is still open as this is where you enter and leave the building. The ground floor is also open because there's one single flat on this floor.
The next one along.
Well, the lower ground's public on this floor. That's interesting because the other one, lower ground was restricted, but on this one, lower ground's public.
Oh, which was there too.
Very weird, this.
Right. Oh, indicate the stairs.
Oh. So here up at the top of the tower, let's take a look around and go up to the penthouse level. Same on this floor, should I see if the penthouses are the same design?
No bike on the side.
Oh, no bonus bike. And the penthouses are the same design. They're very weird penthouses, which is the design from Shadwell. And let's go onto the roof. Ground floor does not look much like a ground floor in this building. It looks very, very non-ground floor like. There's the stairs. Oh no, you can't exit on the ground floor. The only way out is to go down to lower ground. I'm guessing you could have got out on ground floor at some point, but now ground floor only leads you down to lower ground. And on lower ground you can exit a building. That's a very weird design of building. And now we go to the last tower. On this one we enter in on the lower ground floor, and this one the ground floor is closed for renovation and the ground floor is locked off in the lifts, which is very weird as the ground floor is clearly the fire exit level in green, but it's locked, so a bit confusing and kind of against fire regulation. It's different, this one's still got a staircase that's not all boarded up. That's very different. So all three blocks aren't the same on ground and lower ground. They're the same further up, but the lower ground and ground are different. What is on the ground floor? Oh, ground floor's locked.
Doors closing.
So we came in on lower ground. You can't get to ground. Well,
Opening.
well, this is the ground floor, and the lifts. Oh, we can get to the lifts. They've just stopped the lift stopping here because. Oh, there's literally nothing on the ground floor, so there's no need for a lift to stop. When you can't even exit from the ground floor. You have to go down the stairs to exit. So the ground floor is disused. There's nothing happening on the ground floor.
Screwed shut.
There's no ground floor on this building. Ground floor is a thing of the past.